This is how Justin wanted to go to school, in elementary school. This was the average Justin.
He's a high-energy husband, proud dad of 4.
If you could describe your dad in one word, what would that one word be?
He's outgoing.
Courageous.
He's energetic.
Unique or like extravagant, because when you first meet him, like he's not like any other person you've ever met before.
He empowers people to believe in their best selves.
Okay, bald.
Wow.
Okay, so he's bald, obviously.
My publisher has decided to launch our next project, which is a business fable on stop chasing, start creating, and we're telling the untold story of the tortoise and the hare. When someone reads this book, I don't want them focusing on full transformation, because full transformation doesn't come from reading a book. When they read this book, I want them to take one intentional step forward, because in the consistency of that intentionality is where the full transformation begins. Sometimes creation doesn't mean you're creating it from scratch. It means you're creating it from the unknown that may already be inside of you. When someone experiences a Stop Chasing, Start Creating keynote, I want them to walk away empowered, not by me, but by themselves.
We all know the tortoise and the hare. When you think of Justin's connection to the metaphor, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you? No.
Hare. He's the hare.
I don't know how y'all feel about it. I like the documentary, The Walk Up. So rather than just sitting in place, kind of like settling in. Yeah. I'll put this. Oh, it's time to get serious. Take off the glasses. I'm Justin Jones-Fosu. If you want to go Justin Peter Kofi Irabi Jones-Fosu, the first, there is a second. I am the author of Stop Chasing, Start Creating, a timeless fable on mindset, resilience, and meaningful work, as well as a international keynote speaker. So I travel around the world and help people to create meaning. I'm a go all in type of person, right? I'm like, whew, I'm about to dive in, right? That actually probably has different connotations, but I do a thing called a birthday challenge. But this year I decided I want to study tortoises because I'm a natural hare. I'm like, right? I want to understand the strategic aspect of this tortoise. I took a week in the Galápagos, and while there, I was just studying these giant tortoises. And it was amazing to see and hear their history and their story.
The only place on the planet where you find giant tortoises in their natural habitat is the Galápagos. So the tortoise was the most affected animal in the Galápagos. The people had been killing them since the 1600s.
Like going into the depths of our soul. Yeah, so relationship with my father was a very interesting one growing up. I still remember some moments where we play soccer in the backyard. That was an early moment. Because of the contentious relationship with my mom and my dad, my mom would drop me off to Chuck E. Cheese with my brother. She would leave. My dad would come to Chuck E. Cheese, take me. My mom would go back to Chuck E. Cheese, pick up my brother and leave, and then reverse that. Initially, this was every other weekend, and then it started decreasing. And I think some of it was, even for me, as I was growing up, I just wanted to go skating, right? I wanted to go see the girls at skating and learn how to skate backwards, because you didn't want to be the guy who couldn't skate backwards. So I stopped wanting to go as much. My dad wasn't reaching out for me to go. That led to, I think, 2 to 3 years at times where I didn't see or hear from my dad. I think I just buried it a lot. But as I got older and started kind of uncovering and unpacking some of those boxes that I had tried to bury, one of the things that made me realize is that, I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel like he fought for me. I didn't feel like he was there for me. And I certainly didn't feel protected. Not having anybody to be there for you, to protect you, can be hard. Because you're going through all these emotions. You're going through first loves and messing up, stints with the police when you're younger because you've thrown eggs at cars, right? You got to figure it out yourself. And that's what I grew up doing, figuring stuff out myself, because I didn't feel like didn't have a dad to go to, didn't feel like I could go to my mom, not because she wasn't present. I just felt like I didn't want to disappoint her. She had enough going on. I felt like she had enough on her plate.
I think Justin handles pressure better than most. He is a big advocate of therapy, and he's not afraid to say, I need help, I need to be heard, or I just need to be hugged.
I realized that just in the last couple of years, I finally embraced that I was supposed to go through that. Like, I wouldn't be the person who I am today had I not gone through that. But I have a heart for people, especially those who are hurting, because of how much I hurt. You know, and I'm not sure I'd have that same heart.
So I think a few things when things get hard for Justin. Number one is his faith. It's God. I think that's first and foremost of what keeps him honestly going. I also think his family, right? His children. Me as his wife is also what keeps him going. And then his friends, and I know for a fact because I've seen it. For those of you that have been to Justin's keynotes, thank you for saying thank you to him afterward, because it's definitely what keeps him going.
You see the intentionality of this tortoise that's moving strategically, resiliently, what some might call slowly. That's what this keynote's about. It's not about that we always have to slow down. For some people, yes, it may be slowing down. But for all of us, it's being more intentional, it's being more strategic, and it's bringing in those real life moments. All those things made me just want some level of acceptance. So I became a chameleon. I wanted to create the least amount of resistance for someone to be able to accept me. And I remember one time I was roughly about 30 years old, and I remember just weeping on the side of the road uncontrollably. It finally hit me and caught up to me that I felt like I missed something. Like I didn't get something because I didn't have my dad in my life. Especially I started seeing what present fathers look like and the stability that some of those people had. And in 2019, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go confront my dad. Will Smith style, right? And not the Chris Rock version. But the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air version. And there was this scene in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that always gives me goosebumps. I almost start tearing up every time I watch it. And it's Will Smith's dad came in his life because he wasn't in his life in the show. And he was so excited because he was in his life. And he was like, I'm going to go on the road with him. I'm going to do all these things with him. And unfortunately, his dad did what his dad did. And he, told Uncle Phil, said, hey, tell Will I'll see him next time. When Uncle Phil finally tells Will tries to play it off. Right? He's like, it's cool. I'm gonna get married without him, my kids without him. He fell in Uncle Phil's arms and he's like, yo, why didn't he love me? Because I have a really good therapist and a great leadership Charlotte cohort that they challenged me from, instead of going to confront my dad, to going and hearing his story. I remember sitting down, I was in Ghana. I had taken my kids to Ghana for the first time. I remember in the home village just taking a moment to say, hey, Dad, I realized I've never heard your story. Right? And I want to start there. Tell me your story. How'd you grow up? What was it like for you? What was your relationship with your dad? And I remember in hearing his story and then also sharing my truth about what I felt like growing up. I chose to forgive him, not because he asked for it, but because it was my choice. And I realized I'd been carrying the weight of that burden. Where are things now? I realized it's my choice. One of the things I love, one of my favorite books is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who's a Holocaust survivor. And one of the lines that he shares, it was really, really powerful for me. And it's simply this. He says, anything can be taken from a person except one thing: the freedom to choose one's response. And I realized I had given up my freedom to choose my response. And I was blaming my life and a lot of the things I had going on from chasing an absentee father versus creating a new relationship and allowing the dream of what I hoped to have from a father-son relationship to now inspire me to be a better dad for my kids, right? To show up for my kids, even through a divorce after 15 years, because I was afraid I was going to become my dad. The tortoise and the hare begin the journey and really excited. And of course, the hare falls asleep in the midst of the story. Overconfident. Felt like had it all together. Ego-driven. And the tortoise wins. And what did we call the tortoise growing up? Slow and steady. But I'm here to tell you for the last 10 years, I've been challenging this statement. The tortoise was not slow. The tortoise was strategic. The tortoise was resilient. And the tortoise was steady.